So my friend Elle and I went to Discovery Kingdom up in Vallejo. We drove about 300, maybe a little more, 300 miles to get there. I knew the operations weren't going to be great, but we went on a Friday, hoping that people would be in work so they would not be at the park. Park hours were open from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., so we didn't have a lot of time in the park, certainly not as full a day as your typical Knott's Berry Farm hours or your typical Six Flags Magic Mountain hours. So going into this day, I knew that I would be getting my 50th coaster credit, and I wanted to do it on Flash. I also heard that Flash isn't usually running and it goes down a lot, so we rope dropped that. We made it to Flash right away. It was open. Couldn't believe it. Total miracle. Got row 2. It was really good. I didn't really know what to expect. This was my first Intamin Impulse shuttle coaster. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. You get a lot of different hang time depending on where you sit in the train on the twisty spike going forward. After row 2, we did Flash row 1. Something I was not prepared for this ride was when the LIMs engage, when the ride starts launching, it kind of screams at you. It was a lot louder than I was expecting, but it's a very, very loud noise. Went over to do Batman because I also had kind of gathered that was a lower capacity ride. I thought I was going to hate Batman. I did not know how I was going to feel about the S&S free spinner, but I didn't hate it. It was not a bad ride. We didn't wait very long for it. Pretty good. By this point, Superman had opened. It was closed when the park opened, so we didn't bother, but it had opened. Ran over there before it got too crowded. Did Superman row 4. Did it again, row 6. Pretty much the same as Electric Eel at San Diego. I think I like Electric Eel better. Electric Eel has longer trains, so if you're sitting in the back, you go a little higher up on the spike. This has only 6 rows, so it doesn't fit a lot of people, which is why it tends to get a pretty nasty line. After we did Superman, Joker was open. Joker was also not running when the park opened, but there was a line for it. By the time we got off Superman, it was down to like 10 minutes, so we did that. We waited for the front. I liked the front, didn't mind it at all. We wanted to obviously go back and do the back row, but we wanted to ride Flash again while it was open. So we went to ride Flash. We got about like mid-back of the train, and we got off, and then it broke down. So we were glad we did that. At this point, we needed some Tylenol and ibuprofen because once you get older than teenager age, it's a little harder to do roller coasters all day. I accidentally left the Tylenol in the car, so we had to go back to the car. If you've never gone to Discovery Kingdom before, it is a half-mile walk from the parking lot to the front gate. And we did have preferred parking with our prestige passes. It helped a little bit. It was also not super crowded, so the parking lot wasn't filled all the way back. I had done Discovery Kingdom one other time back in 2018, I believe. We only rode Kong and Joker. Everything else was either like a 2-hour line or broken. Elle was able to figure out how long it took us to walk, and it's actually a half-mile each way. So we hiked the mile back to the car, grabbed our Tylenol and ibuprofen, went back into the park, stopped for lunch. I have the meal plan, so gotta have my free food. Went to Medusa, B&M floorless, did the front row, did it in the back row. The back row was better than the front. I liked Medusa a lot better than I like Scream. It was really good though. Didn't mind it one bit. At this point, we walked back to Sidewinder Safari. We kind of wanted to knock that out of the way, knowing that would be one of our longer rides. It wasn't bad. It didn't spin a lot, but it wasn't bad. The queue has live animals in there. That's pretty cool. While we were back there, they had these tigers, young tiger cubs hanging out, so we went and checked them out, and the Six Flags employee who was training them, working with them, whatever, taught us some facts about them. It was pretty cool. We went to do Boomerang. It was very rough. Not enjoyable. One and done. Did it for the credit. Don't need to do it again. At this point, Cobra had been down a good chunk of the day too, but Cobra was up, and we'd done Jaguar, so I kind of figured it would be similar. It was smaller than Jaguar, but with an absurdly long train. I think it had 20 rows in it, and we sat in the back. So imagine like a kiddie coaster, kind of like a Vekoma Jr. style layout, not a lot going on, but with a 20-row train. It was an experience. We did it once, we didn't need to do it again. The operations at Cobra particularly were really slow. it can only run on one train. Kong was closed for the majority of the day. After we got off Cobra, we did see it cycling. I'm not gonna lie, a part of me was hoping it would just be closed because I did not need the credit. And I didn't want to ride it, if we're being real. Elle had never done Kong, and she was like, we need to do Kong for the credit. And I had done Kong before. I remember it hurting, but I was willing. I was going to be there for my friend so we could get the credit. I was wearing my sunglasses with a strap. I wear prescription glasses, so I have my athletic strap on me so I can, see on the rides. And I think it would have been better if I wasn't wearing my glasses. We sat in row 4, hoping that wouldn't be super painful. The way the over-the-shoulder restraint was banging on my glasses made it very miserable. That was a one and done. Never need to do Kong again. Kong is widely regarded as one of Tacoma's worst roller coasters. They just need to get rid of that. I'm sorry. But if Six Flags got rid of Kong and put, I don't know, like Railblazer there, that would be a huge enhancement to the park. Then we went over and did Batman again. The line wasn't super long for it, and we had a pretty good spin on our second round of Batman. Again, I love X2 with the controlled spin. Didn't know how I was going to feel about the free spinners. I know it makes some people kind of sick. It wasn't bad for me. Again, I was very pleased with Batman. Didn't hate it. At this point, we went to do Joker again, because why not? We got row 11. We thought the back was better than the front. We did the front again after that, and then we kind of decided, yeah, Joker's better in the back of the train. But the front's good too. You get really good airtime pretty much anywhere in the train, but Joker is a back row ride for us. I want to shout out this one employee at Joker. I think his name was Mark or Matt. It started with an M. But Joker has like a really long queue with a ton of switchbacks, and there's no way to avoid it. And then it merges with the fast lane line, and then they let you through this like fun house. They've got some, funky mirrors or whatever. After, our like first couple of rides, when there was not a line in any of those switchbacks, we kind of walked up to this guy and we were like, can we please just get let in here instead of having to walk around the whole queue? And he was like, you asked very nicely, so of course. When we came around to lap it again, we kind of looked at him, and I just kind of did like the little prayer hands, and he's like, yeah, come on back. I was like, oh, thank you. So thank you to that guy for not making us walk around the switchbacks. At this point, we did the flash vertical velocity again. It went down probably 4 times while we were there that day, and then back up, and it kept getting stuck on its way back into the station. And so they had to pull the train back into the station, take everybody off, and then it was down for a little bit while they ran some cycles. We did mid-train, I think it was car 11. Flash in the middle is very, very good. Again, you get different hang time depending on where you're sitting on the twisty spike thing in the front. It was very good. I really like Flash. Went over, did Joker, row 12. Airtime, fantastic. At this point, we needed food that wasn't greasy food. And we found this place in the back of the park where I could use my meal plan to get a salad. So we got a salad and split that. I will say Discovery Kingdom has really nice scenery. We got to sit in this area kind of overlooking a little lake, river, body of water. Not sure exactly what it is, but it was really pretty. Nice view. At this time, we went to go do Roadrunner. I know with some kiddie coasters at Six Flags parks, specifically Magic Mountain, they will not let you on without a child. Or even just like in general, some kiddie coasters at parks, like they will not let you on without a child. So we were kind of not sure if they were going to let us on Roadrunner, but we got in line. There was nobody in line with us besides this little girl, and I assume it was like her grandma with her. And we were chatting with them. We had to wait the cycle that was going while we got in line for it. And yeah, the ride-off let us on. He didn't look happy about these 2 adult women getting on Roadrunner without children, but he didn't stop us either. So we did get the credit. It was a good little kiddie coaster. It didn't hurt. It wasn't super rough or anything. We fit in the trains just fine. At this point, we went back to Medusa, hit a back row ride. I really like Medusa. No hate towards Medusa. One of the better B&Ms I've done, honestly. And then we went back to Joker, and it was almost park closing by this point, so we were just lapping Joker, and they did not make us get off. I think we did 3 laps in row 6. We just happened to be in row 6. And, we came back after our first lap and they said, if there's no one standing in line for your row, you can ride again. Okay, say less. So we rode a second time. Pull back into the station. If your row is empty, you can stay on. And I was like, no way, because at Knott's Berry Farm, they have the rule of 2 where you can only re-ride one time and then you have to walk around. They didn't make us do that. And the Joker ops at this point in the day too was like, it's probably like 5:30 at this point. Like, it was later in the day. After 3 p.m., the Joker ride operations were fantastic. Like, they were trying so hard to send out those trains, no stacking. They had 2 train ops. Shout out to the Joker crew that day. After our third ride, they said, if your row is not full, you can ride again. And Elle and I kind of looked at each other, and by this point, we'd done over 20 rides today, and we were like, we can't. we need to go home. We're all done being on roller coasters. The human body can only take so much, and our bodies were done. Despite our best efforts with ibuprofen and Tylenol, we were done. It was like 5:45. We had 15 minutes till park closing. We went, grabbed myself some souvenirs. We each got like a magnet to take home, and then we made the half-mile hike back to the car. Rides of the day. Joker, 7. Flash Vertical Velocity, 4. Superman, 2. Batman, 2. Medusa, 3. 1 ride each on Roadrunner, Sidewinder, Cobra, Kong, and Boomerang. Rankings. Number 10, Kong. Kong sucks. I'm sorry. It's not a good ride. The layout, in theory, could be very fun. It's just very rough. Elle actually hated Boomerang more than Kong. Fair enough. Boomerang also hurt, but it was not as bad as Kong for me because Kong hit my glasses and Boomerang didn't. My other reason for putting Boomerang a little higher is that you have a few seconds during Boomerang where it's going up the lift hill before it releases you and you do the ride backwards. So you kind of get a minute to rest from your head getting banged. You do not get that time on Kong. Again, I think Kong had the potential to be a very fun ride, maybe in its prime. It looks pretty sad. It was down for most of the day. They were running it on one train. It just, the station, the ride itself just looks kind of worn down and sad. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be, I don't want to be super negative on this channel, but also, if you've done Kong at Discovery Kingdom, you get it. Number 9, Boomerang. Also hurt my head. Number 8, Roadrunner. Fun little kiddie coaster, no hate. Number 7, Cobra. I like Jaguar better, but it's a good option if, you're parents and you have younger kids and maybe they're not gonna lap Joker all day. Number 6, Sidewinder Safari. I like Sierra Sidewinder a lot better than this ride, but it was not a painful wild mouse, so win. Number 5, Superman. It's a Premier Skyrocket 2. It does have a fun kind of light up tunnel in there. It's a little fun, but I think I prefer Electric Eel more than Superman. It was kind of fun to do the original Skyrocket 2 model though. Number 4, Batman. Thought I was gonna hate it. Did not hate it at all. 3, Medusa. A great B&M floorless. Loved it. Number 2, Flash Vertical Velocity. I liked this a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. I figured I would like it if we were able to get on it, but I liked it a lot. Elle's review of Flash. Gotta go fast. I agree with her. It was a great ride. Number 1, Joker. I think Joker is very underrated. It was a fantastic ride. Great airtime. Definitely a back row ride for us. You just get yanked over that first drop. No hate to Joker. I love Joker. It's a great RMC. All RMCs are great, but that one's wonderful. Elle's review for Joker. RMC treatment makes the best ride in the park. I agree. We both love RMC. Park operations were pretty good. Specifically, the Joker crew after 3 p.m. were on top of it. Most of the employees we encountered were really friendly and engaged with guests. I love the ride photos. That you're gonna see that's a theme in this channel. I love making goofy little faces for the ride cameras and getting my goofy little ride photos. There were no ride photos. We saw a camera on Medusa that looked really sad, like all covered in spider webs and dust. Not working. The photo booth was completely boarded up. I was kind of bummed that they didn't have any ride cameras. They could have a camera on the first launch maybe for Flash Vertical Velocity, They could have the cameras in the Skyrocket 2s. I love a ride camera. I was very sad that there were no ride cameras at all. Shout out to the ride op that let us on Roadrunner. Wasn't sure if he was gonna, but he didn't say anything. The signage at this park was very bad. Food options were limited. We had the food and drink plan, but the food was definitely not as quality as, say, a nicer park like Knott's Berry Farm. But overall, this was a pretty good day we had. We both had our prestige passes, so it wasn't like we had to get a day ticket. It was not crowded on this day we went. We very carefully planned when we were going to go in hopes that it would not be crowded, and it wasn't. It really wasn't bad at all. It was pretty empty. We were very grateful for that. We didn't even use our single-use fast lane. It wasn't necessary. I want to mention is that we did not bring bags into the park. We had zipper pockets, so that's what we used. We didn't bring any bags or anything. I know they have the lockers. I kind of got the sense that they weren't letting people put their stuff in the station. Joker, I think they did though. They let people put like their bags in the station. When I went back in 2018, it was forced paid lockers. So I was very happy to see that they were moving towards the Magic Mountain way of not making you do that. But we did bring zipper pockets. That's always my recommendation, especially if a park is kind of iffy with loose articles in the station, is just bring zipper pockets. SeaWorld San Diego will let you bring a fanny pack on the rides. Overall, I was very happy with our visit in the park. I think we rode 23 roller coasters that day. Very satisfied with that number. And that was with only 7 hours of park time. And we spent an hour just going back to the car and chilling for a little bit before we went in. So really within 6 hours, we were able to do that. No fast lane, nothing, just being strategic with where we were starting the park. If you do go to this park, I highly recommend starting in DC Universe and doing Superman and Flash Vertical Velocity if they're open, because those ones seem to go down a lot and they are lower capacity rides. Overall, we had a great experience at this park and we were very thankful for that great experience. We only had one day for this park. The next 2 days on this trip we spent at California's Great America. So we were pretty happy that we were able to do as much as we did. Highly recommend that you go visit Discovery Kingdom at least once. Pick a day that's not super crowded and hope that everything's open. We got unbelievably lucky that all of the rides were operating at some point during the day, so we were able to get on everything. As we were leaving Vallejo, we noticed there was a Chili's not that far from the park. We were staying about an hour and a half away, which is about how long it would take us to get to Magic Mountain and back from where we live. So we knew we were going to want to eat before we went home. And for those of you who know me IRL, Chili's is like the go-to post Magic Mountain spot because it's pretty cheap and the food's pretty good. So we could not believe it. There was a Chili's in Vallejo, not that far from Discovery Kingdom. So that's what we had for dinner. Chili's has a 3 for me deal where you can get like a drink, a salad or a soup, and then an entree, and then you can upgrade that entree, and that's what we did. Felt just like being at home. We were very excited about that. And then we drove back to where we were staying so we could get ready to go to California's Great America tomorrow.